Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I want to go over the commodities, specifically on a few commodities such as gold, silver, platinum, copper, oil, and natural gas. I've been asked a lot about what I think about the commodity sections, what I think for a mid to long term outlook, so I certainly don't mind giving that my analysis and forecast on each of them. So let's start with gold here first. So gold originally, if you can see this really strong bullish push to the upside, and we're followed by this type of correction. And from the bottom here, I talk about that there is a very good chance that we're going to have this bullish push up to the upside, which had happened. And then I was talking about that if we did break out of this structure here, we're going to wait for a continuation and wait for the price to break out. However, we did not get that, right? And that's kind of a sign from the market telling you that structure is evolving, structure is changing, but the overall correction is still valid and it's still correcting. And now that we can see that it failed to break higher, instead we had a reversal impulse down. So basically what the price here is telling you that we're going to form this little continuation correction here on the lower time frame, and I expect this move to actually push down to the bottom, either the bottom of here or the bottom of this overall structure here, and then to have that bullish reversal, whether we're going to reverse from this bottom here or we're going to drop down all the way here and then reverse to upside. Basically, we know that the structure here isn't complete, that we're still correcting here. It's still in a correction to correct this whole previous bullish move, and that we can certainly expect a little bit more short-term bearish move from the market, and then eventually we're going to get that potential bigger reversal for the price. So that's kind of how I see on gold. It's going to be very similar like silver. If we look at silver here, silver on the higher time frame, I've been talking about that a higher time frame outlook on silver is certainly a potential buy, but that's on a higher time frame, and that we need to see this correction to complete in order to give us momentum to push to the upside. As you can see from the bottom here, you price is basically forming a triple bottom here. It's failing to break this low. Again, there's some associated costs with silver. It just could not go below, $13 or so. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense to produce silver. And as we can see from the coronavirus, with price pushed down, but quickly impulse up. So that's a really strong impulsive move. And as we know, after an impulsive move to the upside, we're naturally going to have a correctional phase, a correctional uh, period of time before the next up move. So that's kind of how I see on a higher time frame. But lower time frame, just like gold, I do see a potential short-term move to the downside, completing this overall kind of a parallel channel. You can see that this is a massive, strong bullish impulse to the upside, and naturally, again, price needs to correct, right? Correct during a period of consolidation before the next up move. So I do expect for a short-term wise, I do want this move to slowly push down, whether to break this low or hit the bottom of the previous double bottom low, eventually looking to see what will happen in this area, and then potentially giving us a bullish continuation to the upside after. So short term, potentially looking for that sell to the downside, but long term wise, definitely looking for a higher time frame continuation if the price does push to the downside, and then lower time frame reversal, and that could be the potential start of this bullish run. So that is silver. Let's look at platinum here. Platinum on the higher time frame, you can see that originally we were talking about this coronavirus drop, and then we had this reversal impulse. And at the time I talk about that, there's a very good chance that this is going to be a continuation. We're going to see further upside, which it did. We pushed the upside, we're going to form a bigger correction here, and then we continue push to the upside now. But this is where the price is reacting to. If we zoom out here on the price, basically there is a double top here on the price, and this is where the price is rejecting to. We can see that we pushed to the upside, but we did not form bullish continuation to go higher. Instead, if you go on the lower time frame, it is a bearish reversal price action. So basically, all this bullish move that we talk about, impulse, correction, impulse, is counter or reversed by a reversal impulse followed by a continuation bearish correction. So impulse correction, and then we have this massive drop to the downside. We even broke this previous low as well. So what do I see on here for the mid to long term outlook? Well, certainly after this kind of a strong bearish push down from the price, naturally price again needs to correct. But I do see more of a continuation bearish kind of price action now, because this previous bullish push that we talk about failed to go higher, failed to continue after breaking this high. And if we zoom out here on the higher time frame, this is still an impulsive break to the downside. So this is an impulse. this is can just be a more of an expanding correction that we see on the higher time frame. And if we wait for some sort of development here on the lower time frame, such as a continuation bearish correction, then certainly I do kind of see this to push down to the next low. And again, this will take, probably a matter of days or weeks to develop. As we can see, this correction here takes a matter of almost 76 or two plus months to develop. So certainly we can get a correction here or a consolidation here for that same kind of period. So very be patient here. There is really no entry here. I do want to see consolidation here a little bit longer. Somewhere like this would be nice. Maybe not at the same kind of size or scale, but definitely a correction here would be nice to potentially push down the price lower. So for mid to long term outlook, waiting for a bearish correction here and then be able to push down the price to the next low. So that is platinum. Let's take a look at copper. So copper, very interesting here on the higher time frame that I do see this. If we zoom out here on the higher time frame, this is the all-time high. This is from 2011 or so. This is the all-time high, and as you can see, price did have this massive bullish impulse to the upside, and it's very clear. But are we? Do we look like we're going to continue? And that's really the key point here. Is we did hit this all-time high, but if we don't get continuation, we don't get bullish kind of price action, and we start seeing this bearish reversal. That is a sign from the market. When we go down to the lower time frame here, you can see that after breaking that all-time high, we pretty much had a push down, we had a correction, we pushed down even lower. So if we look at the overall higher time frame here, this becomes a bearish reversal impulse, right? So again, very similar like copper. Copper hit that double top here or hit the top of the structure here, but failed to continue higher. And if we look at copper here, it's pretty much the same idea. We pushed to the upside, but again, failed to continue from the high, and we had a reversal kind of price action. So naturally, if I was looking to get involved in something like this, I want to wait for the confirmation here, whether or not we're going to get a bearish continuation correction to develop here. That will be really nice. Similarly, it could be forming kind of a head and shoulder pattern. You can see that this is a left shoulder, head, and if we develop a right shoulder and bearish continuation correction, certainly it's going to add confluence, especially at the all-time high double top. If we do get that bearish continuation correction, certainly I can expect price to push down to the next lower. So that is more of a mid to long-term outlook, but in the short time, we might get some bullish activity here. We don't know if this is going to continue or we're just going to continue push up by just forming a deeper correction, the deeper correction that we want to see in order to confirm that left head and shoulder pattern as well. So look out for some short-term bullish move or bullish kind of sideways consolidation, but ultimately mid to long-term outlook-wise, I want to look for a bearish continuation price action to push the price down. So moving on to oil here. So oil, still looking like to me that this is a very consolidation kind of price action. We're not in the impulsive price action. This is really the difference here is when I start seeing price moving sideways like so, start very consolidated, to me that is in the more of a correction, more of a consolidation phase. And naturally when we reach to this kind of previous high area, that we'll be looking for some sort of a bearish reversal, right? The buy has already happened, so there's really not much buy opportunity rather than looking for potential bearish reversal. That's going to give you a very sharp move. It's very similar when the oil drops like this. You have kind of a continuation correction or a consolidation period, and then a massive bearish push down from the price. So similarly, we can get that, in the near kind of future, mid to long term outlook. First thing first, to see what the price will react to this kind of a higher time frame double top. As we can see here on the lower time frame, price doesn't need to break down from this ascending channel right away, right? It can continue to correct, even correct all the way to that double top here. So not going to be interesting to buy or sell while it's in this correction, but I'm looking for that correction to complete and then looking for a strong impulse to break down, right? That's always going to be the first confirmation, and then second confirmation is going to be the lower time frame continuation correction somewhere here. That's if once this ascending channel completes breakdown, continuation correction, looking for the short sell to the bottom of this overall structure. And if we, of course, if we can break out of that, then further selling opportunity if we get further continuation correction on the lower time frame. So first thing first, wait for this kind of correction period to complete. It might continue to consolidate a little bit longer, so let the price to continue to correct. No point to enter while the price is in the correction. Wait for the breakout, wait for the correction continuation, and then look for the sell setup. Last one I want to go over is natural gas. If you notice, most of these commodities are more having a bias of a sell, more bias of a bearish kind of price action. But natural gas is slightly different. I think natural gas does look like more of a bullish reversal. So if you look at the overall price action here on the higher time frame, this bearish massive drop from the price after 2008, it pretty much give price a 10 to 12 years of a correction period like so. Right, this is clearly kind of a parallel channel, more of a descending channel. So we know descending channel is a bullish reversal. As we can see, there are a few swing highs and few swing lows. So that's really good to see from a price action point of view. And we also see this kind of a high time frame double bottom as well. So all this is very good confluence for a potential buy. Yeah, at the time when I was looking at this, I didn't really like this overall structure. It's more looking like an ascending structure to reverse. But if we're seeing these breakout, if we're seeing prices pushing out now, that's a very good sign for the price. I really would not much interested in these kind of buy, but I do want to see continuation. I do want to see bullish continuation to push the price. But really, if we see the overall higher time frame here, if we really get the price to break out here, right, breaking above this high here and then further continuation, that's going to be a really long-term kind of outlook to push the price. You see how much price drop here, right? It takes about 10 to 12 years to correct. So naturally, we understand a strong impulse like so takes years and long-term to correct, but it also gives you a very high probability of that reversal now because of this correction here, right? The correction, the longer the lengthier and the deeper it goes, the stronger the next impulsive move will be. And that's kind of how I will be looking at for, months later when this kind of move actually happens. And there is really a small chance that we might not even break out, right? We might just hit the top here and then start dropping down and then making another way back to the bottom. But structurally, price action wise, nothing changes. All this move is telling you is that this particular move isn't enough to break out of this current 10 to 12 year structure. We make another move down to the bottom, hitting the bottom of the structure and then still having that bullish reversal to the upside. So to recap, natural gas, I'm looking to see if this bullish move for breakout and then potentially breaking out of this descending structure and then look for a continuation for a more long-term approach. Oil, going to be very patient here to pretty much just wait for price in the lower time frame to develop a little bit more, potentially finish this ascending channel and then push down for the price and then continuation price action to sell to the downside. We can talk about platinum as well, platinum on the higher time frame, because we failed to break higher after passing this previous high, and we basically have a higher time frame kind of impulsive phrase, and this could be an expanding structure that the price is in. And I do favor this bearish impulse correction and then push down for the price. So waiting for a higher time frame kind of a correction here, give us a potential sell opportunity in the mid to long term outlook. Copper. Copper, I like how we're at that all-time high area, all-time high double top. We have an impulse pushing to upside, but we have a reversal impulse. So again, looking for a continuation correction here to develop. It might take days or weeks to develop here, and then looking for a potential sell down to the previous low. Talk about silver. Silver on the higher time frame, I do favor the long-term kind of potential bullish outlook, but short-term wise, when we look at the overall price action here, I do see this as an impulse correction, and I do want to see price to push down to here, and then look for that long-term buy opportunity. And last one is gold that we went over. Gold failed to continue after breaking this up, failed to continue from this correction to push higher. So we expand the structure into still a parallel channel. And looking like that, we had this reversal impulse. And if this continuation correction can bring the price down to either this low or the bottom of this structure here, this area will be a very good area to be looking for that bullish reversal and a long-term perspective, because we can see that long-term wise, gold has pushed up massively. This can just be a correctional period, consolidation period, and then eventually still lead to the next upside. So there it is, guys. That is my commodities outlook, more mid to long term outlook. And any question, comments, welcome to let me know below and chat with you guys all next time. Thank you very much.